Hello everyone and welcome to Dan Chalmers Tech, and I hope you're doing well. And today we're going to be talking about AMD's RX 5500 series GPUs. Now obviously the announcement happened a couple of days ago. In the meantime I've actually been working on potentially a new studio upgrade which I want to bring to you guys, so this is why it's a bit late. However, let's roll that intro and jump straight on into it. So on Monday the 7th of October, AMD announced the RX 5500 series. The first point of interest here is going to be the title of series. It wasn't mentioned with the previous launch of the 5700 and 5700 XT, but that could be due to the fact that these GPUs are for both laptops and desktops, or possibly that XT variants are coming on later down the line. However, what these slides do say is that it looks like AMD is bringing the fight to Nvidia at 1080p level of gaming. There's also been some outlets saying that there's a 5500 XT, others are saying that it's just a 5500, but all we know at the moment is that AMD are releasing the 5500 and the 5500M. So let's talk about the specs of these cards, and up first is going to be the RX 5500M. Now it comes with 22 compute units and 1408 stream processors, which was originally leaked by video cards. However, we do get up to 4.6 teraflops of compute performance, a game clock of 1448 MHz, and a boost clock of 1645 MHz, with 4GB of VRAM and 128-bit memory bus. Now the confusing part here is that the game and boost clock as AMD specs page for the CPU have them the other way round. So let's have a look at the RX 5500 desktop variant, and we can see it has the same 22 compute units, 1408 stream processors and 128-bit memory bus, but it's a bit of a beefier version when it comes to the rest. This time we get up to 5.2 teraflops of compute performance, a game clock of up to 1717 MHz, and a boost clock of 1845 MHz with up to 8GB of VRAM. However, AMD's spec page of this GPU do state that a boost frequency of 1670 MHz and a game frequency of 1845 MHz. So it looks like their marketing department here have messed up, as the boost frequency should be the highest number due to the intense tests. We could be possibly looking at a base clock of 1670 MHz, a boost frequency of 1845 MHz, and a game frequency of 1717 MHz. So the die size of these GPUs is 158mm squared, and it yet hasn't been confirmed whether this is Navi 14. However, 8GB of VRAM on a 128-bit memory bus has never been seen before on a consumer-grade GPU. So let's move on to the testing of the RX 5500 4GB variant against the RX 480 and the GTX 1650. Now the test bench that they were using was a Ryzen 5 3600X with 16GB of DDR4 memory at 3200 MHz. And it hands down beats the 1650 in Gears 5, Borderlands 3 and Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And it's also much faster than the RX 480. AMD is also claiming to be up to 37% expected performance over the 1650 in these 6 titles. Games like WoW, Overwatch and Rainbow Six Siege on the RX 5500 fresh in the 1650. However, notice here that the series title is missing. However, these are marketing slides, so obviously do take them with a pinch of salt. So the test bench for these 6 games was actually a Ryzen 7 3800X with 16GB of DDR4 memory at 3200 MHz. However, there is a spelling mistake. Instead of saying Ryzen, it says Radeon. So moving on to the RX 5500M, and AMD are claiming to be up to 30% faster expected average performance over the 1650. So in AAA titles, the 5500M, like the 5500, does outperform the 1650 in some games. Let's not forget that Borderlands 3, The Division 2 and World War Z are optimised for AMD. Moving on to esports titles, and it's a similar story. However, like I said before, these are marketing slides, so do wait for third-party reviews before spending your money. And we also don't know the pricing yet. However, the test bench for these from video cards was a Ryzen 7 3750H with 32GB of RAM and no speed listed. The Nvidia test was the same CPU but only 8GB of RAM, so 4 times less of that of the AMD test bench. So obviously this could slightly skew the FPS scores. So at present the RX 5500 is only going to be available to OEMs for their pre-built PCs. However, AMD's board partners will be releasing their variations in Q4 of this year. So we could expect to launch say around the 29th of October to coincide with Nvidia's 1660 Super launch, or possibly even early November. But then it all comes down to pricing as well. So you can pick up an RX 580 at the moment, which is slightly slower than the RX 5500 for around about $200 US, and the 1650 currently sits at around about $160 to $170 US. So for AMD to really beat Nvidia not only at performance but on price, it would have to be, say, for my liking, $150 to $160 US. But they will probably price it around about $170 to $180 US. However, they are coming back with their game bundles. So if you're looking at buying Borderlands 3 or Ghost Recon Breakpoint, they will be including these with the GPU purchases. So that's it all from me today, guys. I'm currently catching up on all the news, so obviously new videos will be released this week. If you did like this video, however, go ahead and give me a thumbs up before you leave. Click on that subscribe button, it'd be greatly appreciated, and do hit that bell icon for more notifications from myself. If you fancy following me on Facebook and joining my Discord server, the links are in the description below. And like always, I shall see you in the next video.